My name is Darin Leviloff, and I'm here at Gamex Game Convention and Memorial Day weekend in Los Angeles, which is really cool for me because I started gaming at these conventions many years ago. I've designed several games for Victory Point Games. Today I'm going to be talking about Soviet Dawn, which is the second game I designed. It's in the States of Siege system. And I'm going to go through a little run-through, give you a feel. Let's begin. As I indicated, the way the game works is you win the game by getting through all three decks. There's the initial deck that you begin with, there's the Darkness deck that's over here, and there's the Dawn deck that's the final deck, and various cards will trigger the entry of new decks. If you get through all the cards, you win the game, and that's a military victory. Alternatively, you can militarily be defeated if Moscow gets captured, the center space on the board. But there's also a political system built into this, and there's a political track. If you advance the political track to level 9, for it starts at level 1, you achieve political victory, which is, I'm told, the most common way to achieve victory. If, however, the political track falls to 0, it is a political collapse and your nation falls apart politically. So with that being said, we can begin. It has all the basic elements of most States of Siege's games. A little more advanced than Israeli Independence, my first game, but less complicated than some of the others. So I've shuffled the initial deck. I'm going to draw a card. So the first card is Latvian Riflemen Support Red Cause. So the first thing you'll note is the name of the event, and these are all historical events that happened in the Russian Civil War. But there's a little description of the history involved there, so you can learn about the Latvian riflemen and their role in the Russian Civil War. But the first thing we do is advance the pieces. So the Eastern Front advances. That would be Admiral Kolchak in Irkutsk, space 5, and he moves to Omsk, space 4. We would move the Polish front, however, Poland is currently inactive, so we do not move the Polish front. The card confers a certain number of actions, and a certain number of die roll modifiers are built in as an event. So against certain offensives, against certain fronts, I would get a +2 if I attack the Germans, which I can't really attack now because they're back in Riga, the final end of the space, or the track. I get +1 against the Southern Front, which I can't attack because they haven't advanced yet, and +1 against the Eastern Front, which I can attack and probably will attack. But I can do other things with my actions beyond attacking. One thing I can do is try to increase the political level. Being the first turn, I highly recommend doing this. So I'm at space 1, that's on international pariah status, which has a value of 3, so I need to roll higher than a 3 to advance the political track. So I'm going to try to do that. I need to roll higher than a 3. A 5 is higher than 3, so it advances up 1. I still have 2 more actions. I'm going to try to push back Admiral Kolchak. I need higher than the battle value, which in this case is 3, so I need 3 or higher. I roll a 6, very successful. Push them back to Irkutsk. I have 1 more action. I could use it to raise political level, but I'm thinking this may be an opportunity to get a special advantage through the Red Army reorganization table. You roll on this, you normally need to roll a 6 unless there's a special modifier, and if you roll a 6, you get a special advantage. So I'm going to roll, and I was very lucky. That was not rigged, that really happened. So I rolled a 6, and I get one of these advantages. I roll to see which one. 2, which is the second one, which is the Red Army Tank Corps. Now, I can do this repeatedly and get different advantages. Some of them go back to the marker boxes. If I roll 2 again, which meant getting the same thing twice, I get this special advantage called Imperial Gold, and there's explanations for each of these advantages, but I haven't got to that state, so we don't need to worry about that now. But I get the Red Army Tank Corps, and here it is. Okay, I put this in my advantages box, and this gives me a +1 offensive if I deploy it to a front. Okay, so I'll explain that. It takes 1 action to deploy it to a front. So let's say I deploy it to the German front. I go like that, spending 1 action. And then every offensive on that front, I get +1. If I want to shift it to another front, I have to spend another action to do that. So I'll leave that right now. I haven't deployed it yet. I also have reserve offensives and political decrees that are given to me at the start of the game. I have 5 reserve offensives, which I can use at any time as an extra action to make an attack on the board. And the political decrees I can use at any time to either roll in the Red Army reorganization table or try to advance my political level. Don't see any reason to do that right now, so I won't. Having exhausted this first card, I now move to the second card. Czech Legion Revolts. Okay, this is a special card and there's a special marker that is used, and I put it in the Czech Legion box. Okay, from now on the Eastern Front, I get a -1 die roll modifier to all attacks. That kind of hurts me. At some point in the decks, there is a card where the Czech Legion sails home through Siberia, and it removes that disadvantage. Historically, the Czech Legion was fighting the Central Powers in World War I, was abandoned on the Russian front, and had to do basically a fighting retreat where they were very involved in the Russian Civil War all through Siberia, and so they were very much entangled with what's going on in the Eastern Front. We look here, advance Finland. Finland is inactive, so you do not advance. Poland. Poland's inactive, so do not advance. Eastern is active, and Eastern is advanced. Okay? And you might see this space that's shaded. Why is this space shaded? That's Ekaterinburg. Historically, this is where the Tsar was kept for safekeeping. Historically, Admiral Kolchak and his forces threatened to capture Ekaterinburg, so the Bolsheviks sent assassins out to Ekaterinburg to kill the Tsar and his family, which they did do. In the game, if the Tsar's fate is decided by one of these cards at a time when the Eastern Front is in Ekaterinburg or further forward, then you get a permanent disadvantage, the Tsar liberated, which would be brutal. So you do not want to have that happen. I get 4 actions. I'm going to try to use them on the Eastern Front, but now I have the Russian Tank Corps, the Red Army Tank Corps, so I'm going to deploy that, spending 1 action. So now I have 3 more actions. Okay, I'm going to use an action against Kolchak. I get -1 for the Czech Legion, but +1 for the Tank Corps, so that evens out. So I need higher than a 3. I rolled a 2, I failed. Okay, but I still have 2 more actions, so I'm going to try again. And it failed again. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. This time I was successful. 4 is higher than 3, and I succeeded in pushing them back. Okay, next card. Hoffman Offensive launched. Advance the Baltic. Now at this point the Baltic front is Germany, but it does change to become Udinich's White Russian forces at some point, so it could be them, but right now it's the Germans, who as you see are very strong with a battle value of 4. They advance. The Southern front under Denikin advances into Kharkov. Okay, I can have no offensives versus the Baltic this turn, so I can't attack the Germans, so I get 2 actions, and I'm going to try to attack the Southern forces. I need higher than 3, and I succeeded with a 4. Okay, I have 1 more action. I'm going to try to raise the political level. I need higher than a 3, so 4 or higher, and I failed. Objective Denikin Unstoppable, Objective Moscow. This is a unique card, has unique events. Okay, I advance the Southern Army immediately 1. I now get 1 action. If I don't use it against the Southern Front and push back the Southern Army, then the Southern Army will advance again. So, but I think I'm going to do it because of the risk the Allies pose to capturing Moscow. So I'm going to use my 1 action against the Allies. 5 + 1, 6, successful. I push them back. But now, as stated, Denikin comes back with a vengeance. I have only 1 action, so I'm going to try to push him back. And I failed. Now, Denikin advances 1 more space, which means Denikin captures Moscow, which means I've lost the game. So it was probably a poor choice to push back the Allies. For curiosity's sake, the Allies wouldn't have advanced next turn, so maybe I would have been able to hold them off longer, but that's the way it goes. At this point, I count how many cards are left, and the rules have a rubric where I can determine the level of my defeat. There's also a rubric for the level of victory that can be determined should you win. Of course, I did not win. The Bolshevik Revolution was crushed, and I hope you enjoyed this run-through of Soviet Dawn, which is available at Victory Point Games, and is on the P500 list at GMT Games. You can log on to www.gmtgames.com and pre-order that at a discount. And it will come with 2 other games in the system, John Welsh's Levy and Mass, and a new game that John Welsh developed called Cruel Necessity in the English Civil War, kind of a revolutionary theme. You can also pick this game up, and there's an expansion kit available at Victory Point Games, and that's www.victorypointgames.com. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this run through of the game.